Welcome back to the Charlie Cook Cricket Podcast. I'm joined with Andrew today. We are going to go through an absolutely incredible game of cricket between Mumbai Indians and RCB. But first off, we're going to start off with the news that Harry Brook is the new England white ball captain. There was rumours that he'd already got the T20 gig, and it was a toss-up between him and Ben Stokes for the ODI gig. But he's got both of them. Andrew, could a test player be white ball captain anymore, or do England just play far too much cricket for that to work?
That is the big question. And I think I've watched a couple of different interviews with people having opinions on this. And the fact that Harry Brook is now, through kind of circumstance, taking him, he probably won't be playing in the IPL for the next couple of years because of that commitment, whether he would have naturally kind of bowed out of that tournament a bit more without the kind of influence of the BCCI ban, that might be kind of come into play. But it is a lot of cricket. And I think I always remember going back to when kind of the successful captaincy of the one day stuff and the T20 stuff was when it was just Owen Morgan, and kind of it was split before, and we had that real emphasis on 2019 kind of going in there. We have a real project to try winning that home World Cup. Is I think I was when kind of there were so many stories kind of flying around on who the captain was going to be. I was in the camp that I quite liked the idea of a white ball specialist, so Sam Billings or a Vince, just because I think it's a lot of demand on a also a young player, so you don't want to kind of give him that undue pressure. It's a lot of cricket. Like, let's not beat around the bush. It's a lot of cricket, and it's going to be a lot of demand on him. And I think I saw in one of your videos, we always knew this was coming for Brooks. Like, obviously, he was the vice captain. He had some good stints doing that in the Australia series. Whether it's kind of been put on him quite soon, I think it's going to be really challenging. And I think, yeah, he probably will step away from some franchise commitments that he has, or potentially could explore to make sure that he's fully on this.
Yeah, I think that Brook was always the plan, and that they wanted the schedule to kind of sort itself out a little bit.
Mm.
So because we're in the kind of the end of the Future Tours program now, and we're going to start looking to what will be 27 to 29.
Mhm.
That England would probably try and schedule a little bit better than they have when they had two separate captains, if they're going to have a captain that is also a big kind of deal in the test squad.
Mm.
Whereas because Josh Butler decided to resign earlier than they would have expected, I would have imagined the plan for Butler would have been at least the 2027 World Cup. That they've kind of gone, okay, well, we either get like an interim captain for now, which could be a Stokes, which could have been a Billings or a Vince or a Gregory or someone like that, or maybe even you could have looked at like a Sam Curran to do the job for a couple of years. Might not have made as sense with Sam Curran because he's that bit younger and would probably want to keep the job. But I think they've just gone, well, we want Brook in 2 years' time. It's 2 years too early, but we might as well just give it to him now and let him learn on the job.
Mm.
The 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 stuff that worries me is how much cricket he's going to be playing. He's already shown that he needs that break, and he's had the break from the IPL, and not that's got him banned for 2 years. The worry that I have with that is that you gain a lot of experience playing in the IPL, and all of a sudden our captain isn't going to be playing at the highest level in white ball cricket. Even if you look at, for me, the IPL is higher than international level of cricket. Um, so that would worry me a lot. The fact that he's not doing that anymore. Like Josh Butler, he made his name in white ball cricket in the IPL pretty much. I mean, he was incredible for Rajasthan for what 5, 6 years there.
Mm. I
Um,
think the other thing is that, sorry to interrupt slightly, but
no,
the IPL has created something, has built talent for that 2019 World Cup winning side. Like, you look at the Jofra Archers, you look at a number of different people, like your Joss Butlers, Ben Stokes, like obviously got a lot of development in kind of early seasons in the IPL in kind of his career building. And it's always been that kind of to and fro with English players and the IPL. And I still think it's really kind of a place that builds. And look at Jacob Bethel, like he's one of the exciting things. He's over there and he's not getting that much game time for RCB. But one, RCB, I think, have more bought him for the player that he might be in a couple of years. And to be honest, it's kind of a toss up there. Like, I don't think they will. He will play many games, but being in and around that squad, the learnings that you be from being in a team with Virat Kohli, being in a team in conditions as well, playing network practice in a conditions that a T20 World Cup is coming up, that will be incredible for Jacob Bethel. And I hope it's a really important point. So yeah, the fact that Harry Brooks isn't going to be playing IPL cricket for 2 years, if that kind of ban kind of continues, and then even after that, whether a team will look at him because of the fact that he kind of has dropped out and stuff and kind of might look at him less favorably is a worry. But then we do say that kind of he will have a lot of cricket to kind of take up his schedule. So that is good as well in a sense of managing his kind of time pressure and stuff. But it is definitely, I agree with it. It's a worry that he's not playing in the kind of Premier League version of T20 franchise cricket.
Yeah, I think it's a worry, and it's weird for me because I see a lot of England fans that will say, "Well, it's great. He's going to be at Yorkshire for the start of the season. He's going to get ready for Red Bull cricket." It's like, yeah, that's fine, but that's not what Brook needs. Okay, we don't go out to spinning conditions until 2027. We've got a two test series in Bangladesh. That's the next time we'll play in spinning conditions, but that doesn't stop India bowling two spinners in the summer. It doesn't stop Nathan Lyon spinning you in a web in Australia. There's still spin bowlers out. Just because you're not playing in spinning conditions doesn't mean you don't need to learn how to play spin. And that was Harry Brook's biggest problem. And also, there's things that are changing in the T20 world all the time. And it's usually the IPL where that comes from. Now, all of a sudden, this IPL, you are getting. So the bowlers are starting to work out how to stop these massive scores of happening, and it's slow, wide Yorkers outside off. And that seems to be working really well. Well, the batters in the IPL are going to learn how to play that eventually. Harry Brook's not at Yorkshire. There's not going to be. He's not going to have Sam Cook running up to him and bowling wide outside off. No, it's going to be line and length with a red ball in white. It's a completely different thing. That's what worries me. I do think that he's the best man for the job currently, because I'm not quite sure where else you look in that team. I mean, a Ben Duckett again might be able to do it, but do you not just have the same problem with he's going to be selected in the Test match side? I would have split the T20 and the ODI captaincy. That's the one thing that I would have changed. Even if it is Ben Stokes doing the ODI stuff, I would have had Brook as T20, have maybe Stokes or even someone else as the ODI captain, or even just Brook as the ODI captain, and then gone to a Phil Salt in T20 or something like that. I would have liked to us split either the ODI and Test together, or all three of them to just split.
And that's the interesting thing is obviously Brendan McCullum is across all three formats now. We've kind of gone away from that kind of diversion of formats, which I don't necessarily. It's a hard because one, it's a lot of cricket, and so now we have a captain across the ODI and the T20 that is also a Test player, so he's going to be in that squad. So yeah, it's an interesting place to be, because that's basically putting a lot of pressure on both your head coach and that your players who would then play across formats. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of where we kind of stand in a year and stuff and coming up to that T20 World Cup and see how kind of it works itself out. But yeah, the fact that I think it'll be exciting for Harry Brook's an exciting player, and I hope to see kind of his leadership going well, because like he's entertaining when he's at his best. He's an entertaining and he loves playing for England. So let's hope that kind of impact and that kind of emphasis has a positive effect, because I saw Michael Atherton kind of say he was being interviewed and it was like, is Harry Brook ready? And he was just like, you don't really know. It's one of those ones that kind of like, you're like, if you look at like how Morgan was given the captaincy, pretty much a hospital pass going into the 2015 World Cup. So, but then you've got times, other times like where kind of captains have got it on a massive high and then it's kind of faltered. So these kind of things, you never exactly know how they're going to work out with captaincy appointments. As someone who likes to see Harry Brook at his best, I hope it works out for him.
Yeah, so do I. And I do think that it could also be a nod to him being all formats captain. If Because I really think that there's not a majority chance, but I'd give it 25-30% that Stokes, after the Ashes in Australia, is done. His body gives up on him, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, you're looking for a new Test captain. Well, what a better choice than someone that's been doing an okay job in the white ball setup, who's in the Test side anyway. So, is it captaincy and training for the cricket that England actually care about, which is the red ball cricket, rather than the white ball cricket? I think that's got a point with it as well.
Fair. No, that's definitely a fair judgment for sure.
Yeah. But would you? Would you have gone for Brook if you were Rob Key for the day? You put your Rob Key hat on. You've just come off the golf course, and you've got to decide who is England white ball captain. Would you have done that? Would you have gone Harry Brook?
From my head of things, I wouldn't have gone for Harry Brook. I would have said Harry Brook plays a lot of cricket, and I think obviously that the decision around the IPL and the IPL ban is a weird kind of quirk to that kind of this storyline that's come along. I would have, my personal view is I would have gone for a continuation of thinking, let's go for a different kind of captain for the white ball stuff than the red ball stuff. Or we obviously have gone for that, but a different person to come in and be a captain. So I would have gone for the slightly maverick kind of, who knows how it would have worked out, but I would have looked at kind of outside of the team for captaincy expertise, and I probably would have thought about Billings and Vince. I think, yeah, but you go back to the argument, if they're not getting into the team on their just skills, should they be captain? And that is the kind of the argument of where kind of cricket captaincy is so key, and kind of you kind of have that kind of toss up in argument. So I would have probably gone for the maverick decision and gone for Vince or Billings, probably the outsider bet. But I think that's where, if I was the England selector, kind of England head management, I would have gone for.
I would have gone Stokes ODI captain.
Mm.
I would have gone Billings T20 captain. That's the way I would have gone with it. I think Billings is probably a better T20 player than Vince is. And I think there's a world where he fits in that side quite well, batting at 4-5, and playing that role with the gloves as well. I thought Billings could have done that pretty well. I think he holds 2 franchise competitions now. He holds the 100 and the ILT20. Yeah,
and he didn't have a bad keeping and captaining wise. He didn't have like a standout big bash, but he didn't have a bad one either. He played some really good knocks. So it's kind of that hard place, because he seems to have he seems to be really flying in the kind of franchise circuits. So it's kind of whether this was the time for him, but I don't know. I think he'll kind of just see it go by, and just go back to really kind of rocking it on a domestic front.
Yeah, because the way I'd pick the ODI team is I'd pick my basically my test side for the batting lineup. I'd pick some white ball specialists with the ball. And then the T20 side, I would pick whoever is playing the best in whatever franchise competition is on at that point. That's how I'd pick my teams, because I think T20 can be such a form thing. And the way England play Test cricket is basically ODI cricket now anyway. So why not just carry on with that? I'd go Crawley, Duckett, Root, Butler, and just go that way. Stokes, Brook, and just have picked the side that way. But no, I probably wouldn't have had Brook, but I can completely understand why they've done it. We should probably get on to the pretty good game of cricket that we had today.
This was an absolute cracker. I'm excited. I'm very excited to talk about this. There's a lot to go into.
I know. Do you know what? It was incredible. There's always those tweets of, oh, who needs the IPL when county cricket is this good? and I've got the Middlesex Lancs game where Middlesex need 2 wickets. So I've got Somerset versus Worcestershire where Somerset are desperately trying to get the last wicket, the dying embers of the game. I've got the IPL game on the other screen. I'm like, this is just as good.
Yeah. As someone who loves T20 cricket, and I was doing some work for a data company called Stats Perform, and I basically do a lot of coding and I was watching the Sussex Warwickshire match, and some of the kind of Sussex put on this massive score, and then Warwickshire came out and kind of were hitting and stuff, and I kind of had that little kind of inkling of back in like enjoyment of red ball cricket and stuff. But then watching this this Mumbai Indians RCB game, I was like, yeah, this is incredible as well. This is just absolutely epic.
I know. So RCB end up batting first. Phil Salt. I feel like this is the special Phil Salt innings of hit the first ball for 4, then get out. The amount of times I've seen him hit a boundary first ball, then get out the next, it happens quite often. But Virat Kohli's probably going to take the headline. 67 off 42. Hasn't been the best of starts in the IPL for him, but he's looking pretty good. It wasn't as good as last year. He had a really good IPL last year. He hasn't been terrible. But it was good to see him score some runs. Rajat Patidar, 64 off 32, 5 fours, 4 sixes. And then Jitesh Sharma gets him up to 221 for 5 with his 40 off 19. Expensive, most of the MI bowling attack, with the exception of the man who's back, Jasprit Bumrah. And all of a sudden, no one can play him. He's been injured for 3-4 months now, and still no one can get anywhere near him. He's just incredible.
I saw a clip of when welcoming him back into the team, Kieran Pollard, one of the coaches, just picked him up with excitement to have him. It's just ridiculous. The RCB batting, it was really exciting to watch because going into it, I watched a load of their kind of around their auction blog, their auction kind of coverage, and the kind of, and I'm a sucker for those auction, the kind of YouTube videos that I think firstly Rajasthan put them out, but now a couple of the teams do them, and I love them. It's really interesting. It's one of the nerdiest things. Just I'm literally watching 5 blokes in a conference room somewhere in India chat about cricket, and I'm just like, brilliant. But they needed a strong Indian core. It's something they've been kind of really fighting to try work themselves back into, because when you look at the kind of all-time run scorers, obviously you have Kohli. At the start of this tournament, the next one down, I think, was Rahul Dravid. And that was from ages ago, from Indian batters who were playing well for them. But they've, in this kind of lineup, it was great to see. Obviously, Salt didn't fire, but he fired 1 ball and kind of didn't work. Livingston kind of didn't come off, but he didn't take up many balls. But then it's great to see kind of like your you've got your Rajat, obviously captain's knock again, and then the Jitesh Sharma innings was sensational. Kind of they just kept it. Their Indian domestic players, obviously Kohli as well, kind of just kept it kind of keeping along, keeping kind of the tempo up of the whole innings. Kind of looking through power play, they scored 73 runs. Middle overs, they scored 78 runs, and then the last 5, they scored another 70 runs. So I kind of in my notes, I was just thinking they didn't let at any point really, they didn't let Mumbai settle, and they kind of just kept the tempo. But the other thing about I think the last time I was on your podcast, we talked about how Kohli batted a little bit slowly, but his tempo was really good. Strike rate of 160. And I think it's one of those ones that sometimes you kind of prefer to see Kohli score this fast kind of 67 and then get out trying to score more. And then hopefully, obviously, your Jitesh Sharma comes in and has an innings. Another day, a Livingston has an innings. You'd rather want him scoring than maybe him get another 20 runs and it be kind of a 140, 130 strike rate. So really, really exciting to see him and some of the other domestic players hit those kind of like really important innings. And I think that's what they've been trying to do at RCB and have struggled to do, is build that domestic core of batting that then they can spread their finances elsewhere.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them, and it's a quiet RCB team. It's not the years of Coley, Gale, and AB.
Mm,
There's a quietness to this RCB. I think that's what they need. It just all settles down, as you said, that Indian core, and I thought they
mm,
batted superbly today, and got a score which was probably slightly over par.
mm,
And then the Mumbai Indians innings is where this game just went nuts. Sky gets out at the end of the 12th over and they're 99 for 4.
mm,
They then need 123 off the last 8 overs. And in any other world, this game is done. Okay, you've got Tilak Varma at the crease, who had to be retired out in his previous game because he was batting so slowly. He scores 56 off 29. Hardik Pandya, who is having an incredible IPL at this point with bat and ball, he scores 42 off 15. Josh Hazlewood was unplayable for most of this game until he bowled to Hardik Pandya. And he had an over that went for like 22. And the rest of his overs went for 15.
mm.
It was so, so good. But unfortunately, they did just lose wickets at the wrong time. Tilak Varma and Hardik Pandya both go within 5 balls of each other, and that kind of screws them over to the end. It was doable. What was it, 20 off the last over? There was
Mm.
a chance at one
You had
point.
both the Pandya brothers kind of showed up in important moments because then Kunal Pandya came in and bowled the last ball, and his bowling is very interesting. He keeps it very simple. It's kind of like just like quick darts, but he was up for it and he taken those 2 wickets. Obviously, you've removed the big players already, but just to make it sure in that last over where kind of a these days at kind of around about a 20 is very doable if you kind of have the batters to do it, or kind of you get a lower order hitter who can really kind of take off. So still in the realms of possibility, but I think, yeah, RCB did well to, and there was one moment where Sky got dropped when two of the Jitish Sharma and I think it's Dal or Dial, but collided in the middle in the middle of the wicket, and I just thought, oh, in a different universe, that is the moment where then they go on to somehow lose on the road to MI, but they kind of Sky got out literally. He only scored one more run, and then obviously this incredible partnership. Like the hitting was just insane. Hardik Pandya is just every time he kind of goes on one of these rampage hitting sessions. Like it's great to watch, and it just proves what a unique role he plays in that Mumbai team. But yeah, they got over the line, and it has been. I kind of looked at the facts, and it's they in commentary they brought it up since 2015 was the last time RCB beat Mumbai at Wankhede. So it happened again at Chennai. That was a massive record broke the last time they won at Chepuk. It's happened at the Wankhede. It's just this is building this RCPT. As you said, they're quiet. They're not brash. Like they're not kind of they're setting the world alight with wins. They're not kind of that got that massively expensive top 3, but they're just slowly building, and they just seem like a smart team. They just seem like a smartly built team, and now they just seem to kind of be building momentum in this year's IPL.
Yeah, I think Josh Hazlewood is incredible for them.
Mhm.
I think he's having a seriously good tournament.
Mm.
I'm just going to pull up his stats. I'm not 100% sure what he's gone for so far this year. So he's got an average of 15 and an economy of 7.7. That's really, really good so far. And it's probably better than most of what the other IPL bowlers. I mean, for instance, in 2023, he was 25. 2022, he was 18 at 8. 25 was at 8.5 as well.
Mm.
I mean, economy wise, this is his best IPL in a long time.
Mm.
I just think if they can have him be successful
Mm.
at the front like he has been, and we're seeing more and more in the IPL that opening partnership is so important to a lot of teams.
Mm.
It's the reason that the Sunrisers are having such a terrible time at the moment. Is because they can't get their openers to fire, and these bowlers that can take wickets and keep it tight in that power play just completely halts all of the momentum for most of these teams. And Josh Hazelwood, while he's not going to get all of the flowers because he runs in and bowls a heavy length, and it's in T20 cricket, it's not that exciting, but I think he's doing a really, really good job for him so far. Yeah, I like this RCB team. They're up to third in the table, just on net run rate. Delhi have got a game in hand, who are top at the moment. But is it RCB's year? Could it be?
I think they're definitely. I definitely kind of label them in for the playoffs. From then, who kind of knows? I think going back to Hazelwood's bowling, I think they threw up kind of his lengths and stuff on comms, and just those kind of lengths. If you can stick to them, and if you can make he does that kind of subtle changes between subtly going between kind of back of a length and just kind of into a good length. But we're talking like less than a meter differences, but he's so consistent, so key. And there was this moment, the moment when LBW appeal for Ryan Rickleton, not out, and then they kind of look at it. And one of the things I really liked was the communication there, because Jitish Sharma comes up, he's keeping, and he looked at the ground and he he assessed. The kind of commentator was talking about why is he looking at the ground, but he was assessing where the ball kind of landed, because I think there was a slight mark on the pitch. Looked up at whether it was going to be like hit in line, and he relayed this information to Rajat Patstar and then Josh Hazelwood and said, let's go. And it was literally just inside the line to make it kind of like legal, and then kind of an LBW. So another really good review. I think we talked about a really good review the last time I was on in the Chennai game from Raj Patidar, which makes massive kind of power play wickets in T20 games like gold dust, really important. So just RCB making a lot of really kind of clever early decisions, two kind of big wins on the road as well, which I think is really key for them. Kind of obviously you get the run fest back in back at home, and kind of working out how they can dominate at home is really key. But kind of wins on the road are quite hard, especially when you have such dominant away crowds. So to do that, incredibly important. And I think, yeah, they just seem to be really building some good momentum here.
Yeah, and for Mumbai, they're probably in a bit of trouble now. They've played 5, 1, lost 4. To go through, you're probably going to need, what, 8 wins? Roughly. It's similar to what I was saying about the Sunrisers in yesterday's podcast, of that you're now going to have to win, what, 7 out of 9? That seems like a push. That seems like... I liked Mumbai's team. I thought they had a really good team. But just have been... I mean, they've lost. I think this shows how close their games have been. Of the fact that they've lost 4 games, their net run rate is minus 0.01. So it's nearly equal of their net run rate. That's how close their games have been. And they've given it a really good go. And there's probably 2 or 3 games where you could say we were nearly on the other side of that win. I mean, so they've lost by 12 runs twice in a row. Gujarat beat them quite badly with 36 runs, and they lost to CSK in the opener by 4 wickets, 5 balls remaining. That was close as well. They've had some close games. Can they turn it around from this point? I don't think so. I think they're just if they're 2 and 3, it's probably a different story. But 1 and 4 seems like a real push.
No, I think I agree with you, but I'd never count them out. I'd never put money on it for them not to be making the kind of a last gasp kind of push for that last kind of spot. But yeah, it has been all their games very close, and I think it's hard because the problem is when those games are close, you don't know what you really need to be changing as well. Because like if you get absolutely flattened in a game, normally that gives you an indication about your bowling, an indication about your batting. Close, I think the two things, kind of close wins and stuff, and kind of I think back when I kind of working as analyst, the kind of the games where we got kind of close wins or close losses, and then rained off fixtures were sometimes the most frustrating. You don't learn anything, so kind of working out. So it'll be interesting to see kind of to think about what the kind of conversations in that Mumbai dressing room will be, and kind of who will they be thinking, right, where have we lost these games? Because they've all been really tight.
Yeah,
Like
they were.
Trent Bolt's still kind of bowling really well. Kind of I think one of the things that I noticed from it was Sky. The last two matches he's played have been both kind of got into the like late 20s, 30s at quite a just over a run a ball. So kind of he's not having the greatest of times. Royet's not really firing at the top of the order as well. He's kind of struggled. Jax hasn't lit the like kind of lit the world alight really. And it one of the kind of points that just kind of was interesting that kind of was looking at Will Jax is because RCB got a lot of like kind of flack for not retaining Jax. He was kind of a fan favorite. And I saw a video summing this up. I can't remember who the content creator was. I wish I could, but he kind of summed it up really nicely. Jax was an incredible player for RCB, but he wasn't the player that they needed in the auction. So they kind of didn't retain him. Then they went out, got a Livingston, got a Tim David, big lower order hitters that they needed. And yes, neither of those players kind of did it today. But that's just one of kind of an interesting point of Jack's playing in the kind of against his old team, and his old team basically being like, "You're an incredible player. You haven't necessarily lit the kind of world alight right now for the opposition, but our team didn't like our structure and our kind of what we needed to win games. Unfortunately, wasn't your kind of skill set."
Yeah, I mean, if they want to go for an overseas opener, Phil Salt is the better option over Will Jacks.
Mm,
Even with Will Jacks's bowling is fine,
mm,
but I think Phil Salt is just so much better. Especially in the IPL where you have really got to attack that power play. And Phil Salt, when it comes off, you win every game,
mm,
like KKR did last year with
mm,
his opening partnership with him and Narayan.
mm,
Of if Salt goes from ball one and if he's there for 20 balls, he'll score 50, 60.
mm,
Um, there'll be days where he gets out for four and is out second ball. That happens. That's the risk you have to take.
mm,
Whereas Will Jacks, I don't think necessarily gives you that guaranteed win if he fires,
mm.
um, like a Phil Salt does. So I can see what they've done. Yeah, as you said, I think they had a really, really good auction RCB, and I really fancy their chances to go all the way this year. Um,
Massively.
who have we got playing tomorrow? Is it a double header tomorrow? I think it is.
About to say on a Tuesday. How
On a
interesting.
Tuesday. It must be a national holiday in
Yeah.
India tomorrow. So we've got KKR versus Lucknow. I don't like either of those teams.
I think I'm liking KKR a bit more than Luck now, personally, just through kind of like I'm now weighing up who's in my fantasy team. Um, but I think I've liked the way that KKR kind of. I like seeing a bit Ajinkya Rahane batting well. I think he's kind of like be an IPL journeyman that I do enjoy seeing well, and kind of him kind of having the captaincy and kind of throwing that first punch in the first game. So him playing well is fun to see.
So you're going to go KKR to win that one
I'm
at
going to go
home at
K.
Eden Gardens. So
Oh, massively. That completely home advantage, and kind of the way that they've KKR especially. I'm not sure if it's actually so prominent these days, but in the early days, their dominance at Eden Gardens and kind of how they created a team was very inspiring. Kind of them and kind of Rajasthan in the early days of the IPL, how they team built was just way above everyone else. But yeah, them at home at Eden Gardens, I reckon they're my favorite personally.
yeah, I'd probably go KKR as well. I am interested to see how that Lucknow team score at Eden Gardens. I think they've been batting pretty well this year. And then the later game is Punjab Kings versus CSK. CSK probably, if they lose this one, are going to be in the same position as Mumbai.
Mm.
Of they're now looking at an uphill struggle to through, um, try and get through to those playoffs. Punjab are at home. I'm going to go Punjab to win that one. I think.
I'll probably be very boring and agree with you there. I think Punjab at home, I think they've still looked good against that kind of Rajasthan outfit, even though it was one of those when we kind of last talked, it was kind of one of those situations where Rajasthan it came together and they won. And I think that will Punjab won't kind of worry too much about how that kind of comes off. And I think they still looked good in a load of different kind of areas in that
Mm.
match. So I still think them at home, yes, CSK, it's going to be I think both matches, good matches for sure. CSK, if they lose that, agreed. It's an uphill battle, and when that pressure then comes into, oh, we need to win every game in franchise tournaments. It can either really kind of vitalize you to like, oh, there's nothing, we've got to get the job done. Or it can be really kind of pressure, like, right, if we kind of misstep at any point, we're sinking our tournament chances.
Yeah, no, I agree. So there it is: KKR to win, Punjab to win tomorrow.
I don't think our last our last predictions went well at all from my memory.
Well, at the moment, my finalists or my playoff makers, Gujarat and RCB, second and third at the moment, going well. My other two were Chennai and Mumbai. They're 8th and 9th. So
50% chance, I reckon.
I'm 100% right 50% of the time. But guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. Please go check out Andrew. Andrew, do you want to give yourself a quick shout out for your socials?
On Colorblind Cricket, but I'd say mainly on the socials, starting to work into kind of putting more stuff on YouTube and longer format stuff. But yeah, or mainly on kind of TikTok, Instagram, just Colorblind Cricket.
Yep, all of the links will be in the show notes and the description below. Please remember to leave us a rating, leave us a review, all the usual stuff. Leave us a comment on Spotify. We don't get many comments on Spotify, and we'd like to see a few more of those. And we'll be back tomorrow for a kind of bumper roundup of the county championship that we need to go through. There's a lot of games. I've already started my prep for it. It's going to be a bit of a long one. So I will see you guys tomorrow. But have a good one.